Alright guys, welcome to another Trains in 2017 video. Today we're on the Edinburgh-Glasgow route and we're doing a bit of route learning in the 150. So, as you all know, I drive with the HUD. This is one of the routes I would ideally like to start driving without the HUD. This scenario is called driver training route learning. We'll just wait to come off depot. So we're working the rush hour train, you're working the 0812 Edinburgh-polmont return. So it's a fairly long scenario. We're next off shed, so let's get the train set up and then we'll be able to move off. So let's stick the master key in. Let's give ourselves tail lights off, instrument lights on, marker lights on. We want the right hand light. Do our test.
Test message on the radio, over.
Message received, loud and clear, over.
Thanks for that, message.
So, the NRN's ready. We've got the road. Let's take the DRA off. Oh no, let's not do that because that will be us in reverse. Let's go all the way round with this. This scenario's pretty cool. You see there's a ladder sitting up over there with a few guys around it. It better not be that 170 that was next to me moving. No, good. So this is Haymarket Depot. You do pass, if you ever go down the line you'll pass it. It's always good to have a little purchase in and see what's going around. I've really noticed the past couple of days that the 170s are incredibly loud. Incredibly loud. So this is the DTG. Oh, it's not a DTG 150 at all. It is, again, I think it is OVE that did the 150 and the 156, and again it's up to their usual high standard. No DSD, but it's got most of the switches work. Compressor speed up doesn't on this. Whole gear switch is usually locked out anyway on Sprinters from what I've seen. So all in all I quite like it. This is a video that I wasn't actually going to film. I was literally just going to do this and to do my route learning of it, and then try and do a video with me without the HUD, which is still the plan, but I thought why not video it. If you guys want to watch it, you watch it. If you don't, you don't. It's not a route I think I've done yet, and it is one of the older routes. It was a Thompson route, but it's still really nice. I still enjoy it. I just can't really drive it with a 170 because of the sounds more than anything. And it hasn't got steps, traction brake control or anything like that. It's very basic. And there's a bit of confusion out there. I'm not sure which version of what I've heard is true, but some people say there hasn't been a 170 pack by AP just because they can't get an 170 to record from. And other people are saying it's because Thompson don't let you touch any of their designs or anything because of their user license agreement. Now I thought it was only the Trent Valley stuff that Thompson came out with and said you can't do anything with it, you can't have sound patch, you can't do nothing. But maybe it applies to all their stuff, I'm not sure. It'd be a real shame if it was, because it could do with it. Or at least if you're not going to let other people do it, update it themselves. And Thompson stuff is usually awesome, but some of it's shown its age. maybe he's just holding out to do some of the Train Sim World stuff. Double yellow. Like we've got the road into Waverley, yeah. Looks like a single yellow to me. Once we get out of Waverley on this section, I'll start doing some info about the 150, maybe a little bit about ScotRail. See what else I can pull out. Again, like the 156, I've only got working instructions for a 150. Haven't actually got any of the driving duties or driver stat duties or fault finding manuals, none of that. Oh, I was hoping not to have to actually stop. Ah, don't. Excellent. So still on a single yellow. I've got a further to the right. Just the red just before the tunnel there. Or is that in the tunnel? I can't quite tell from there. That's yellow, brilliant. So there's me following in that 170 that's just gone in. Platform 13, my favourite number. It's not my favourite number platform in Waverley so much, but it's my favourite number for various reasons. One that a lot of people find unlucky. Just trying to make sure I get over those TPWS ramps 5 or under. Also about a minute early, which means we might go for a little wander around Waverley, see what else is around. I'll shut down this cab. Tail lights on. Destination markers can come on now. Instrument lights off. Marker lights off. Okay. Stick in the key. So we're in neutral. Test the radio at this end. I can do compressor speed up. Oh, I see, I like that. Right, what I want to do when I can get there is it's F7 and F8 for the destination blinds. There we go. Confuse everybody. Right, cab's done. We've got a red. We'll leave the DRA on. Let's go for a little scoot around Waverley. Nothing around. Cool. I do like Edinburgh Waverley Station. It's not as cool as Glasgow Central, but I do like Waverley. I like the little East Coast lounges up here somewhere. It's quite nice to sit in there, the first class lounge, when you're getting waiting for your train, freezing cold. It does help. Let's go for another little look at the castle. Oh, I like that. The fact that that's just 2D. I see a lot of routes that have lots of 3D buildings all around, and I just think, what's the point? When I do things like that, I suppose. That's all well and cool, mate. I've got the drift, but I ain't moving nowhere. Oh. Do I believe that, though? Just gingerly approach. I'm just desperate to get out of the way of this 170 droning away next to me. Oh, it wasn't even my signal. Says approved still. So we're doing Haymarket, Edinburgh Park, Linlithgow-polmont, then we got Polmont back, Linlithgow, Edinburgh Park, Haymarket, Waverley. So I thought in this little video I'd do a little bit about ScotRail itself, or the brand of ScotRail, and maybe go through a few bits about the 150. Again, ScotRail was one of Chris Green's successes. If you don't know who Chris Green is, look him up. He's one of my heroes. Branding master and all-round pretty good guy by the looks of it. Most people rate him quite highly. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's probably the only brand name that he came up with that is still around today. I'm going to have a think about that one. I'm going to go with it. I'm going to say yes. Yeah, I'm going to say yes. So, a bit of education. Let's do a little bit of education. So, Chris Green was a British Rail manager, and he started off. He was in British Rail for ages. Started off in 1965 as a trainee manager of British Rail in the West Midlands, and then he was the area manager of Hull in 1973. But the really cool bit starts in 1984 when he became manager of ScotRail, building its new identity. Now, he didn't come up with ScotRail, I don't think, but that was sort of what he was given to work with. And he was only there for a couple of years before he then went to Network South East. And then after that, he became 92. So not long before then, privatisation. It's more ripening it up for privatisation, I suppose. He went over to the intercity sector. So he was around just after when the full launch of the 91s was in, with all the Mark IVs and everything. You see him advertised on, well, not advertised, you see him interviewed on plenty of videos. If you read any of the sector books, so there's the Network South East one, there's a GNER one, there's a intercity story, there's the rail freight ones. All the way through, you'll see he pops up. And then he went over to work for, he was a Chief Executive of English Heritage. Yeah. Oh, I've just read this and I didn't know this. He resigned from the post after 14 months after having breached the rules on the proper conduct of a public business. But in an auditor's book it was relatively minor, which is fine. Doesn't tar his reputation with me. And it didn't amount to fraud. He then became Director of Consultants to Gib Rail and advised the Transport Select Committee in the House of Commons. 99 he went to Virgin Group. So he was the guy that Branson would say, oh yeah, look at our shiny new trains. It was actually Chris Green who oversaw all the introduction of the Pendolinos and the Voyagers. He then worked for Network Rail, and he's co-authored the two books. Two books I've already mentioned actually. One about Network South East and one about Intercity. He was just, for the sort of time period that I like, he was quite heavily involved and his name crops up everywhere. So anyway, that's a little bit about Chris Green. It was pretty cool. That's a red that I'm about to run. Approved, that's alright, thank God for that. Again, that's me not looking and reading. I don't claim to be any major driver. So ScotRail was British Rail, and then National Express took over in 1997. And it says here the first unique ScotRail livery was introduced shortly after privatisation. The ScotRail logo applied with vinyl sticker and a stylised outline of Scotland. So it's quite an interesting one. There was no units left of regional railways livery in Scotland after the end of the National Express franchise. That I didn't know. Improved through a lot of these. There we go. Yellow. So after National Express had it, went over to First Group in 2004, and it sort of did the pink and grey and purple livery. This was this livery was the National Express one that they did. I was never a big fan of it, really. I've still got my tail lights on. So yeah, that was the National Express livery, which the Sprinters first came in as well, to be fair. First Group did. I don't know if you just watched what would be my previous video now, the 156 video. Another yellow there, so I'm not too worried. That's in the Barbie livery. I'd still call it Barbie livery. ScotRail ones, it's the purple and pink. And then first had it until 2008. And then it went over to Abellio. They've still got it now. And they're a subsidiary of Netherlands Spoorwegen, so the Dutch rail operator. Let's slow down to stop at that park. Oh no, sorry, I've just got that wrong. So they didn't take over in 2008. It was 2015. I was sitting there going, that's surely I thought it was like earlier than that, later than that. So the 1st of April 2015, at 2 in the morning, it all went over to Abellio. The rolling stock they have as of now, that well hired in stock as well as stock they actually on long-term lease and short-term lease. So they've got 2 Class 68s, 12 Mark II coaches, 48 sprinters, super sprinters, 48 158s, 55 170s, 16 314s, 21 318s, 29 320s, 40 334s, 16 380s, which is quite cool. And then the future orders, they've got 46 Class 385s, which is the 8300 ones that they've just started building. And still being spoken about now is the HSTs going up to Scotland. But I think that's still happening, and I think there was a thing in rail the other week that said that even though the Great Eastern Main Line electrification was running late, they will still use it. They'll still be getting them on time. So I don't know how that's going to work. Doesn't give me a time. I can do with a time for that. Sorry guys, I'm just slightly running out of time before I have to head off to work. So I might just get to Polmont. 4 hour. I might actually be able to do the return leg. Right, we've got a speed limit of 100, and we've got 12 miles till the next stop, so let's take it up to 75, which is the max, I think, for these, yeah. So with the HSTs, the ScotRail will introduce 14 4-car and 13 5-car refurbished high-speed trains by December 2018 on longer distance services between Edinburgh, Glasgow and Aberdeen and Inverness. This is contingent on the rolling stock being released by the Great Western Railway, like we just said, with suggestions in July 2015 that electrification of the Great Western Main Line was running 12 months late. Also, the other new stock was 385s. It will be a fleet of 46 3-car and 24 4-car 385s from December 2017. And they'll be able to operate on the lines being electrified as part of the Egypt, which I love, which is the Edinburgh-Glasgow Improvement Programme. So they'll be there as well. So the new rolling stock will result in 10 156s, 8 Class 158s and 21 170s returning to their lease companies. Of the 156s released, all the 158s released and 16 of the 170s will join Northern when their lease expires in 2018. Be warned, this is Wikipedia, wiki lies, I know. I've got no other way of sourcing all this info at the moment. So I wasn't planning on reading this bit, I just thought I would. So Transport Scotland has successfully negotiated a lease extension for 13 of the 170s. I mean, they'll be used to support services through Fife, Aberdeen and the Borders Railway. Cool. Oh, what's that? It's a temporary speed restriction. Maybe that was the end of it, and because I was reading I didn't even see it. That all looks cool to me. Maybe that was the start of the TSR. To be fair, I'm not completely a fay with like the boarding boards and that. Temporary boarding boards. Yeah, it looks like it was the start of it. So now I could have missed it. None of the Orange Army on the track, so I'm going to get a telling off at some point, I'm sure. Yeah, that would be... So it's a temporary speed restriction if we're going left. That's all. Which we're not. He's seen us. Excellent. He's seen us. So I should have just trusted my own judgment, and the little arrow pointing to the left meant it was a diverging route. Temporary speed restriction. What have we got over here? Another 150. A 150 and 170 hookup. I like little additions like that in a scenario, just something to make it a little bit more interesting, a little bit more lifelike. So a little bit about the 150s then. So Class 150s were the first of the sprinters. They were all built between 1984 and 1987. 137 of them were produced. Top speed is 75. They share the same powertrain and engine and gearbox and final drive and coupling as all sprinters. Operators at the moment are Route Trains Wales, Great Western, London Midland, Northern. And funnily enough, these weren't taken off the... These are still part of the 151 sort of working plan, prototype sort of thing. But they also built two prototypes of these, but there were 3 cars, and they didn't have the gangways at the front. One, there's sort of the test bed for the running gear, so one had the Cummins engine, the Voith transmission, like all sprinters do, and the other one was fitted with Perkins, and it had self-changing gears with mechanical transmission. And they are still kicking about as 3-car ones. There's only 2 of them. Some of them have been remade by taking a 151, which is with the gangway here, and sticking them in the middle. Speed there. I think for me the 150s, I think they're probably the most boring out of them all, really. Sorry, I got that the wrong way around. So it's the 150 zeros have the gangway, 151s don't have the gangway at the front. And they were all the Birmingham and Manchester units didn't have the gangway at the front. DTG are now doing the 151 without the gangway, and it's got a completely different cab, really. Well, very different. Very different. ScotRail ones were transferred to Arriva trains in 2005. I remember them quite a lot, and I was just reading here about upon the privatisation of British Rail with the creation of Anglian Railways, initially inherited a small fleet of 9 150s, the later supplemented with a 10th. They were based at Norwich, using rural services Suffolk and Norfolk, as well as I was just about to say this because I used to see these every bloody 20 minutes. Every half hour on the Cambridge Ipswich line. I remember Anglia named them all as well. I think they'll end up being painted as well. So I was just reading a little bit more about the 150 prototypes here, and the Rolls-Royce powered one, the least reliable one, went on to be the test bed for the 158. So it was re-geared, it was re-engined with Cummins and given the void transmission. And used to test. It was re-geared for 90 mile an hour. It was used for Class 158 air conditioning and for the new control system for the twin disc gearbox. Miles to Polmont. I'm going to have to cut it short at Polmont because I'm out of time. So sorry both videos have been a bit rushed this morning and a little bit sort of not well planned. After having to rebuild the computer, it was a bit of an unforeseen circumstance. but what I might try and do is get out a couple of, at least one evening this week, and get the last of the Armstrong Powerhouse Class 91 pack done. And then I've got a bit of a hankering for a bit of Class 90 action or a bit of Class 92 action. I'm not quite sure. I haven't really decided yet. I'm going to have a little look, see what's on Workshop. See what's on at Workshop. And try and get something a little bit different. Again, if you guys have got any recommendations, let me know. I'm still trying to work on a real nice guy on one of the Facebook groups gave us a scenario, a test mock-up, a test scenario for the Class 91, which I'm dying to do. The funds being as they are this month, I can't buy the route I need. Considering its age, it's still a nice route. One of the benefits of it being a bit older is you'll always get pretty high frame rates with it. I mean, sometimes when I'm not running anything else in the background, I can get sort of 70, 80, 90 frames per second out of this. Every time we stop next to 170. Okay, I'm going to open the doors here. I'll save it just in case you want to see part 2. But I'm pretty much guessing that you're not really going to be that fast. Again, today was more just about running a few bits and pieces just to make sure my computer's up to what it needs to be doing. I am noticing some frame lags. I am noticing my frame rate's not as high as it should be, which is a bit confusing considering it was a hard drive problem. But I will have a look during this week and try and get out to the shed a couple of nights this week and sort of tweak it and get everything sorted. Again, thanks ever so much for watching. Feel free to like, subscribe and comment. The more likes the better, the more comments the better. I'll be open to any suggestions of what you've got to do, or what you'd like me to do, any scenarios, anything like that, let me know in the comments. Sorry again for them being a bit quick and a bit sort of wafty. Thanks again guys, see you soon.